How did this mother and son turn rape into a family crime? In 2012, DImitria Harris was married to a man named Chris Harris. I would assume that there were issues within the marriage because Chris Harris was having an affair. And on May 27th, 2012, Chris Harris was at his girlfriend's duplex. While Chris Harris was at his girlfriend's duplex, DImitria Harris and her son, Demarcus Rayfield, parked behind the duplex and hid where they couldn't be seen. According to court records, they lied in wait until Chris Harris left the woman's home. And then shortly after Chris left the woman's home, DImitria and Demarcus knocked on the woman's door. When the victim answered the door, DImitria and Demarcus pushed their way into the victim's home. Once they were inside the victim's home, DImitria Harris was very confrontational with the victim, yelling at her about having an affair with DImitria's husband. According to DImitria Harris, she was calm at first and just wanted the woman to know that Chris Harris was a married man, but it escalated quickly. According to the victim, DImitria Harris acted as though she was going to leave the home, but Demarcus Rayfield had other ideas. Demarcus Rayfield, according to the victim, worked his way further into the home and then walked up to the victim, lifted up her nightgown that she was wearing, and told his mother to check between the victim's legs because she may still be wet. Demarcus Rayfield started trying to remove the victim's clothing. The victim was fighting with Demarcus over her clothing, and Demarcus told his mother, DImitria, to hit that bee. So DImitria started hitting the victim, and when DImitria finally stopped hitting the victim, Demarcus kept hitting the victim. DImitria Harris told Demarcus to keep that bee quiet. So Demarcus put the victim in a chokehold and forced the victim back to her own bedroom. Once he got the victim back to her bedroom, Demarcus Rayfield proceeded to rape the victim. At some point, DImitria Harris went back to the bedroom. She did see the victim's blood all over the door and everywhere else in the bedroom. She saw the victim laying naked on the bed, and then she turned around and went back to the living room and waited to see if her husband would show up. DImitria Harris actually told a police officer that she was probably the reason that her son drug the victim back to the bedroom to begin with. You know, they say integrity is what you show when nobody is looking. In a moment when DImitria Harris could have done anything to help this person or stop what was going on, she chose to be self-serving. She chose to serve as a lookout for herself and her son while he committed these heinous acts. According to the victim's testimony, when Demarcus Rayfield was finished assaulting the victim, he started rifling through her belongings, through like her makeup bag, and asked her where her wallet was. And then Demarcus and DImitria just left the victim's home. DImitria Singleton-Harris was arrested and charged with rape, robbery, aggravated assault, kidnapping, and aggravated residential burglary. DImitria Singleton-Harris was convicted by a jury and sentenced to 44 years in the Arkansas Department of Correction. She is set to go up for parole in 2030. Demarcus Rayfield was arrested and charged with 2 counts of rape, aggravated assault, kidnapping, robbery, and aggravated residential burglary. He was actually found not guilty of 1 count of rape at jury trial, but convicted on all the other charges. Demarcus Rayfield was also charged with jury tampering and solicitation to intimidate a witness after 2 separate incidents. On the jury tampering charge, Demarcus Rayfield found out that a guard at the Miller County Detention Center had a wife that was serving on his jury, and he encouraged the guard to go home and tell his wife what a good guy Demarcus was. When that didn't work, Demarcus Rayfield started threatening to break things like the sprinkler head within his cell. After Demarcus Rayfield was convicted, but before the sentencing phase of his trial, he used a phone to call a friend and tell the friend to mask up and go talk to the victim to get her to change her story. He basically said on a recorded line he can't do 28 years in prison, and he already tried to do it the legal way. He told the person on the other end of the line it was time to get their hands dirty. Demarcus Rayfield was convicted on both the jury tampering and the solicitation to intimidate a witness. Demarcus Rayfield is serving a 55-year sentence in the Arkansas Department of Correction. He is set to come up for parole in 2041, but he's one of those that just cannot stay out of prison. He's had almost 70 write-ups since he has been in the Arkansas Department of Corrections.